it's Debbie from Rezinate, and I wanted to run through the key astrological dates that we go through as individuals in our lifetimes. And this was prompted by someone, she'll know who she is, that's asked me recently about those dates and a little bit more of an explanation. And I'll give you the top line dates because, you know, certain things happen at 28 to 30, 33, 36 to 38. And key things happen in those periods for all of us in terms of transits. And so here's a bit of a snapshot. So whether you're in your 20s about to hit your first big transit at 28, or whether you're in your 40s or 50s and you're looking at what your next ones are, it's really great to either reflect back on what these transits meant to you at the time, or look forward to where they're coming up again and what you're likely to face as a general theme and a concept. It doesn't mean that we all face it the same way, but we certainly are given a theme and an idea and a flavor that we have to kind of work through as souls, spirits, individuals on this path that's called life. The first one is the Saturn Returns, 28 to 30. Now, sometimes it happens very early. Mine sort of kicked off at 27 and finished by 28, but you can get them later, 29, 28, 30, depending on the astrological angle of your chart in particular. But the 28 to 30 Saturn Returns is like it gives you this full growing up, this full emotional maturity of, you know, where am I going to come into my full emotional power and maturity? And Saturn is a very serious planet. Saturn wants you to be on course correction, or on course and on path with your life on the physical and the material plane. So Saturn normally throws havoc in career, relationships, where you live, very material, physical things. For me, it was definitely my career. I left a big career in advertising and transitioned in healing and coaching. But for everyone, it's different, and it really questions, where are you with material and physical things in your life, all the key milestones, children, tribe, family, partnership, marriage, you know, career, where you live, your community, your body, your physical vitality. It really questions those things and asks you to grow up. And that often comes with challenge. So Saturn Returns often feels hard. It's always there to course correct us. And I always call Saturn a male energy. Planets aren't male or female, but Saturn always feels like that hard authority or father figure that comes crashing down on you. There is a little one that I don't really delve too much into, but at 33, we are really, even numerology wise, the double 3 is about creativity. So a lot of people, when they're coming into their 33rd year, before and after, 32, 34, it's a real sense of creative achievement. So you often birth a lot of really powerful partnerships, products, ideas, business ideas. A lot of creativity seems to stem in that year, or that sort of like time frame, a little bit before, a little bit after. So 33 is powerful in really getting on your creative path and really figuring out where you're expressing and contributing to the world. I see it as a very positive transit, or a positive time, I should say, more than a transit, where you're really on path, or you're able to get on path with your ideas and what you communicate. The next big one, this is a good one, 36 to 38. Again, it could happen earlier or later in that time frame. That is when you realize that nothing has authority over you. You realize that nothing has power over you. Relationships, parents, the tax office, the banks, finance places, you know, someone, your business partner, whatever it is that is feeling like it has authority over you, you have a bit of fear around, or you're feeling like it's got power over you, that starts to get challenged. And it's like the idea is, and it's definitely to do with Uranus energy. It's an opposition of Uranian energy, where it says, I want to be free. I don't want to be governed by you anymore. I don't want to be repressed. I don't want to be forced into a box. And Uranus energy really wants freedom. It's very left field. It's a bit of an FU planet. It's like, I'll go my own way. And I know for me, it was all about fighting banks and institutions around credit card interest. That was, you know, bullshit. And so for me, it was a real challenging financial institutions around ripping me off. So for you, it'll be whatever it is that represents that kind of governing power that is no longer needed in your life and is inhibiting your freedom. The 40 to 42 is the big next. There's 2 more biggies. Well, there's actually 3 more biggies. And when I say biggies, they're always delightfully transformative. And I say that with a laugh because they feel freaking hard at the time. But the 40 to 42 one is what we call a Neptune square. So Neptune takes a long time to transit the sky around from the day that you were born. And he's a quarter of the, well, it is a quarter of the way around. So Neptune square is basically squaring you, giving you a challenge around illusion or your delusions. So they kind of liken it, and my teacher used this term, they liken it to the rose-colored glasses come off. So it's like you're trailing around in life and you're like, yeah, I've got my job and my money and my partner and I live here and I'm this fit or not fit. And all of a sudden the glasses get removed and it's like, holy crap, I thought my finances were okay, but they're not. Or I thought my relationship was good, but it's not. Or I thought everything was fine, but someone betrayed me. Or I thought my friends were in place and I've realized that they weren't actually my tribe. It's something that gets stripped off and you see with raw, real reality eyes, and you start to go, okay, wow, there's something about this that I need to make a change in. And the amount of relationship breakups that I've seen happen at this time is huge. Like, it's just massive sort of like realizations that you know, this isn't working anymore, or this is not right anymore. So that's a biggie, that Neptune square. It really helps you strip back what is an illusion or what you're having a fantasy about that's not really as good as you think it is. It's quite profound, that one. It can feel like that midlife crisis age. People often talk about it, that's that midlife crisis age. However, 40 to 42 is not a midlife crisis because you're not in your midlife. I've passed that age and I refuse to think I've passed my midlife. The next big one is 48 to 50. That's the Chiron return. So the Chiron return, to me, this feels probably the most ominous, because Chiron is a planet we don't often talk about. Chiron is your wound planet. It's your core wound. It's what you came in with that you're dealing with. That's your shadowy challenge, your big lifelong challenge. And it doesn't need to be always hard. It's there to give you a breaking through of this challenge and to evolve you past this challenge. However, it's deep. You know, a wound is often deep. So the wound comes up to be dealt with. So Chiron pretty much, you know, takes 48 to 50 years and happens sometimes right on 50 for people. Sometimes it starts early. And it kind of comes around the sky and it kind of gives you a bit of a bitch slap, and it says, have you sorted out your wound? Have you nailed it? Now, if you have, and you've really worked on that wound, you're probably going to skate through a lot more easily, or it'll be come up as a reminder, but you'll be like, yeah, I've got this, or I've started to change that and now I just need to finalize it. For some people though, they haven't really dealt with that, and so it does whack them around, and people talk about getting really sick or getting unwell or having a health problem suddenly come out of the blue, or it's something that kind of really, you know, eats you up and can get in under your skin if you haven't really looked at it before. And so Chiron returns are big. A lot of people around that 50-year mark are challenged with something decent that's quite emotional and quite real and quite visceral. So Chiron return is big. If you want to know where yours is in your chart, you know, get in touch with me. But it's not about doing a session on it. It's just about you understanding what you're working with. You probably already know what it is. Finally, I'm going to finish on the Saturn returns, the second Saturn returns. So we had a 28 to 30, which is your first Saturn return, which meant that Saturn went all the way around the sky and came back to the place that you were born and said, hey, have you grown up? I'm going to give you a challenge around the material and the physical, if you recall. The second one is more about a recap of that lesson. Did she get it? Did she get it? Can I give it to her again? Usually, fingers crossed, usually in a calmer form, in a much, you're more mature at 56 to 58. Well, you should be. And if you're not, get off this video and do some work on yourself. But you're more mature, you've come through a few life ages, you know, you've got some skills, you've got some capability. And so the second time around, it sort of reminds you of the first lesson, and I'll give you an example in a minute. Reminds you of the first lesson, but it does it in a way that just cements it in. And usually you kind of go through it. So for example, you know, if you had a burnout or a 28 to 30, if you had like a life burnout, or you're really unwell, or, you know, you got really sick from overworking or from a situation in life, and you came through that situation and repaired yourself, it might be that at 56 and to 58, you have another situation that's kind of taking too much of your energy or overdriving you or burning you out or something. And it just comes back to revisit, and then it asks you to make those better decisions. And if you've already had that experience of the first burnout, you might say, oh, okay, I'm going to like be really kind and loving and easy on myself now. But if you don't do that and you just smash through it and you do the same sort of repeating mistake as last time, it will kind of kick you in the butt a little bit. It could also be something like relationships. It might have been at 28 to 30, you got married and you married the wrong person and you didn't trust yourself, or, you got into a bad relationship that actually hurt you over a period of time. It might be that now it might not even be a lover that it's reevaluating at the second time around at 56, 58. It could be friends or a relationship or a business partnership, and it's sort of going, hey, this person or these people aren't right for you. Are you going to step up and not let the same mistakes repeat, in that you don't trust yourself, or you're going down the path that's not right for you? Think about those ages. So if you're coming up to the 28 to 30, expect some big life realizations. If you're in your second Saturn returns, go back to what was happening at 28 to 30 as a challenge and go, what am I facing in my life right now that might be a bit of a carryover from that time, that it's just asking me to kind of like finalize that healing process. If you're in the 40 to 42 one, you're getting some pretty, raw feelings, like rose-colored glasses are coming off. You need to make some changes in your life that, make you look at life with real, true eyes, not like glossing over the details. If you're in that 36 to 38, whoa, go you, get your own authority. Don't let anyone have power over you. Step up into your true power. If you're at the 33-year-old mark, yay, go you, creativity, voice your ideas, thoughts, products, services, career ideas, creative ideas. Really, really go for it. And finally, if you're in that Chiron 48 to 50, really take it easy and gentle on yourself, and really take time to feel into your deep life wounds, because they will come up for a bit of a reckoning and a bit of a Q&A with you, and the more prepared you are, the better. I hope that helps. There's a lot of information there, and I talk really fast, so you might have to put me at half speed. But enjoy those life transitions, and if you want any more support or help, you know where to find me. Thanks for listening.